Amanda, I want to play a game.
Hey horror freaks, welcome back to my channel. My name is Amanda. As you can see from the title, today's video is going to be my full review with spoilers of Heretic. This is the latest A24 horror film. And as always, all my reviews are with spoilers if you don't want them, just to see if this was worth it or not on the description box down below. There you're going to find my spoiler-free review because I'll give you guys the two options. Given that good disclaimer, let's get into the video. Now, Heretic follows two young religious women are drawn into a game of cat and mouse in the house of a strange man. The film is protagonized by Hugh Grant, Sophie Thatcher, and Chloe East. Has a running time of 1 hour and 50 minutes. And to quickly summarize it, the film follows two missionaries of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, Sister Barnes and Sister Paxton. And what they do is that they go to houses of people who have shown interest in getting into their church. They talk about it and they convert them into their church. And they are assigned to go to the house of an Englishman called Mr. Reed. When they arrive, a storm hits, so he asks them to go inside because he's interested in their church. They ask for a woman to be present, and he claims that his wife is in the kitchen and she will be joining them soon, so they go inside of the house. And while waiting for the wife to join in, Mr. Reed starts to do comments about the Mormon church and personal questions to the girls to the point that they become uncomfortable. Mr. Reed claimed that his wife was in the kitchen making a blueberry pie, but Sister Barnes realizes that the smell actually comes from a scent candle and that what Mr. Reed has said is a lie. They try to leave the house, but the door is locked. Mr. Reed, he goes to his study. They have no phone signal and now there is a snowstorm outside. They decide to get themselves further into the house so that they can find a way out. Here, Mr. Reed starts to do a whole explanation and metaphor about religion history, and he claims that after doing so many studies about all the religions that exist, he has found the true religion. He starts doing metaphors with board games and songs, and he tells to the girls that they have to choose two doors, and one of them is going to be the exit outside on the back of his house. One is belief and one is disbelief. Sister Barnes starts to refute the claims and she decides to go with Sister Paxton to the door that says belief. They go downstairs and they get themselves into a dungeon. There is only a chair and a table. And suddenly a woman with a blueberry pie appears, but she's covered and she gets into her knees and just start praying. Mr. Reed explains that he's going to show them a true miracle. The pie is poisoned. The woman is going to eat it and then she's going to die and is going to be resurrected because she is a miracle. And while waiting for the woman to get resurrected, an elder from the church appears at the house. He is looking for the girls, but Mr. Reed covers everything, including the bikes of the girls that were outside. So the elder leaves and never realizes that the girls are indeed inside of the house. And while he is upstairs, the woman comes back to life. But one of the sisters claims that she actually moved and her head wasn't in the same position because when he left, they tried to go upstairs since both doors were leading to the same dungeon. So they tried to go to the other door. So they were distracted. They went in the same room and the woman moves. And then she is back to life. And he started questioning them about what happened, what the woman said, because now he takes her to another room. And the woman said a couple things, but at last said this isn't real. Sister Barnes, she keeps refuting what is he saying, what just happened, that is not a miracle, and he cuts her throat. She obviously falls to the floor and she is bleeding out, but he claims that she will not come back because she is not a real person. She has a scar on her arm and he opens the scar and he takes out a metal bar. He starts to explain to Sister Paxton that that is a cheap device that proves that Sister Barnes wasn't a real person and that this whole thing is a simulation and that in order for you to get to the real world you have to die and then return back. But Sister Paxton has been paying a lot of attention and she reveals to him that she knows that everything was a lie. What actually happened was that while they were upstairs, the woman was replaced with another woman and the body was tossed into a hole and everything was a lie, and that he's trying to cover it now with claiming the whole thing about the simulation. The thing that was actually on her arm, a type of birth control, and he's like, you're right. that is completely true, but now you have to prove that there is another body. She keeps looking around on the dungeon and she finds a door on the floor. When she opens it and she goes downstairs, she sees the body. She keeps walking because now she's supposedly free, and she finds other women that are in cages. And this is when he's revealed the true religion. And for him, the true religion is control. He started explaining how by being controlled, first by the church and then by him, every single thing that has happened in her life has led her to that moment. But Sister Paxton, being a smart girl, she has a weapon in her hand that she has been hiding, and she stabs him in the throat. So she returns up, but she realizes that this whole house is a labyrinth, so she has nowhere to go, and she returns to the dungeon. And at last, somehow, Mr. Reed appears on the other side and stabs her on her stomach, and now she is bleeding. And while she is bleeding to death, and so is he, she starts to pray. And when he is going to her to finish her, Sister Barnes appears and kills him with a piece of wood that they have previously taken out on the dungeon. And she succumbs to her wounds and she finally dies. Mr. Reed also dies. And at last, Sister Brennan, she's able to get out of the house from a little window. And when she is out, she has a butterfly in her hand. Previously on the film, she explained it that when she died, she wanted to be a butterfly to fall in the tip of the finger of the people that she loved so that they knew that it was her. And at last, we have a butterfly in her hand, but then the butterfly disappears, and that is how the film ends. Now, gearing into the review, this film has been a huge surprise for me. When I first saw the trailer, I was intrigued by it. I saw that the film was getting good reviews, so I was even more excited, and I left the theater with my expectations not only fulfilled, but they were overpassed. I felt pleased with what I saw, and I feel that this is a film that everyone should watch. This is a suspenseful, claustrophobic, tense horror film that has a solid script. From the moment that he starts talking about the Mormon church, you can really tell that they did their research on it. I am not an expert on the Mormon church, but I knew a few things about it. I did recognize some details like the undergarments that they have to use. They even showed them the fact that they do not drink any alcohol or caffeine, so he offers to them some soda. That was a detail that I already knew. They talk about John Smith, his numerous wives, and many other aspects of the Mormon church. He also explains plenty of details about other religions in order for make his point across, and he make it, for me at least, so damn interesting. He has some philosophical things going on, but the way that he's explaining everything, doing the metaphors with board games and also music, I feel that it was an easy way to make his point across so that you don't get confused. I feel that the film was very straightforward. I don't feel that it was disrespectful to any religion. At least he's just saying his opinion and he's showing his evidence on why he believes that at the end control is the true religion, because he explains that in the end what religions they do is control people. So for me it wasn't offensive or anything, but it was very interesting for me. It's an interesting topic for me. I like hearing other people's perspective, and that is something that I also like. It brings the perspective of the girls when they are refuting what he is saying, and I felt that it was kind of like a healthy debate in some ways, which brings me to a point that I really like it, and it's the acting. Hugh Grant, he kills it here. He is a man that I have seen plenty of times in rom-coms. He is a very charming man. I really like him in rom-coms. The only time that I have seen him as a villain was in Paddington 2, which is a really good movie, by the way, but it's not on the same level as here. Here, he brings his charming side, but also a creepy one. So you have an actor that has both things, and he plays it perfectly. That man gave me the creeps, but he's so nonchalant about it, and he's so charming and so relaxed because he is the one in control. But of course, there's a moment where he loses the control and the girls are the one in it and they play around it. But he never yells, he never gets angry, he never gets that anger. He's always so calm, and he's like telling them what he believes and then is listening to them. And that was a detail about the character that I really like it. The fact that he always felt that he was in control. And how he played everything. Creepy as hell, but at the same time so charming that it worked perfectly. The girls, they also did a fantastic job. The girl that plays Sister Paxton, that girl is amazing. It's the first time that I have seen her, so both of them, they did a fantastic job. I really like the pace. The film is just 1 hour and 15 minutes, but it went like this. But without leaving details behind, I feel that the film grabs you from the beginning and you get so immersed into it that you don't even realize that almost 2 hours have passed. Like I said at the beginning, the film is so claustrophobic, intense. It kept me on the edge of my seat. I already know that something bad is going to happen to these girls. Explained not only on the plot but also shown on the trailer, but you don't know how bad it's going to get. And it's the detail of we don't know what is going to happen that it's so good. If you like those type of films that are going to make your heart race and you're going to get anxious, go and watch it. I love when movies do that. I love it. I don't know, it just makes the experience a little bit better. I really like it also that the film never turns boring even after the fact that it's basically just one location. The majority of the film takes place inside of the house, mostly on his living room and then on the dungeon. There's only a few scenes that are out of it. So I really like it how everything played out so it's not boring. Because sometimes when films are in one location, you need to have a lot. Because if not, you're going to get bored. Here, that didn't happen. When it comes to the ending, I feel that this is left for the viewer to decide either if she died or if she actually get out. It reminds me a little bit to The Descent. If you have watched the original ending, she gets out. If you have watched the alternate ending, it was all an hallucination and she actually dies on the caves. I feel that with the butterfly detail, I feel that she didn't make it out, but I really like it that they just leave it there for you to interpret, which brings me to another point. I really like it how everything was presented when in terms of the information, and I feel that is a film that is going to make you think, it's going to make you question, and I feel that it was an intelligent film, something with substance. For me, the biggest thing about it was the script. As you can see, I like this film a lot. It was a huge surprise. This is a film that I feel that people should watch. Maybe not everyone is going to like it, but at least I did way more than expected, and this may come as a surprise, but this has become one of my favorites of this year. The film currently has 95% on Rotten Tomatoes by the critics. I don't know how it's going to be the score of the audience, but for me, this is a 5 out of 5 and a 10 out of 10. This is not a rate I give easily. If you have been here for a while, you know that. But for me, this is a 5 out of 5, a 10 out of 10. I want to rewatch it again. This film for me was perfect. I loved it. Honestly, I cannot stop thinking about it. I want the goddamn candle because they are selling it. A24 is selling the blueberry pie candle. I want one. Last thing, but completely unrelated, Utah is gorgeous. A few times that we see the mountains and the trees and the snowstorm, Utah is a state that I have in my list of states that I want to visit because it's so damn gorgeous. The scenery was beautiful. Once again, completely unrelated, but I just have to say it because it looks gorgeous, and the house, it was also pretty. So, like I said, this is a 5 out of 5, a 10 out of 10. This is a film that wasn't predictable for me, but keep attention to the little details that can give away what is going to be happening. But for me, it wasn't predictable since I didn't really predict the outcome of everything, and just a few things that I felt that were going to matter, and they did. Once again, little details, but for the rest, perfect cast, perfect script, atmosphere, the build-up, the pace, everything. This is 5 out of 5, 10 out of 10. This is a perfect movie and one of my favorites of the year, and this of course is going to be on my top 5 next to The Substance. That those two are the only ones that they have a 5 this year. But with this, I end. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know down below if you're planning on watching this, or if you already did, let me know your thoughts. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys on my next video. Bye.
Game over.